What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I am Tank Top MMA. I'm here to bring you guys, yes, you guys, my entire UFC Vegas Apex Rodrigues versus Hernandez fight picks. And we're going to start with the early prelims, then lead all the way up to the main event. And yeah, let's jump right into it. First fight of the night, we have an absolute banger. This is a good card, all things considering. Being on the Apex, being a fight night, this is a good card. It's a very underrated card, I think, even because I've heard a lot of people sitting here not claiming good things about this card before this week, and now all the bigger content creators are claiming that this is a decent card. It's been a decent card. It always has been. You've got Chanel Dyer versus Elise Reed. Let's get into how we break down these women's fights. This is what we do. We have a magic device that gets more than, I think it's close to like a 75% pick rate at this time with just this. So, we'll see what it tells us. It tells us that Elise Reed will be losing this fight. We typically need to try to find ways to reason with that. But, I mean, losses to Denise Gomez, Lupita Godinez, and Luma Lukmume, with the only wins being over Jinyu Frey and Jessica Penne. Chanel Dyer beating Ravina Oliveira. That means absolutely nothing. Chanel Dyer could very well lose this fight, but the coin has picked her to win. We are going to pick her. What does she win by? What does she lose by? Okay, she's been finished. So we're going to pick a classic round 2 TKO here from the women. I could see this going to decision, but Elise Reed is one of those girls who tends to get finished when she loses. Moving on to another women's fight. We've got the battle of the long hair here between Jackson McVeigh and Wes Schultz. This should be the main event of the whole card. It's kind of crazy to see two of the least skilled fighters with long hair you've ever seen fight, and they're fighting each other, and they're not actual women. So, you know, Jackson McVeigh coming off the giant victory over the great Cedricus Dumas, just got re-signed to the UFC, so I mean, clearly a very good fighter. Lost to Zach Reese and Bruno Fajeda. The Bruno Fajeda loss is not a bad loss to have on your record, but losing to Zach Reese typically does not mean a good thing for your career. You know, whereas Wes Schultz has lost to the great Mansour Abdul Malik. Jesus, I can't talk today. Mansour Abdul Malik and Damian Penis. Beating Ben Johnston, who was coming off like a 4-year layoff, had retired from the sport. They signed him just to fight Wes Schultz. I'm going to pick Jackson McVeigh to get the job done by TKO in round number 2, I guess. We're going with the same thing we went in the women's fight. Gage Young. We are moving to the lightweight division. We've got Gage Young versus Stan Dorsonville. He does not look like any Stan I've ever met. But hey, bro. The kid's a good fighter. Typically brings a good pace. Got to be adopted with that name, but it's awesome to see a black dude named Stan Dorsonville. I think that's pretty cool. Gage Young is a UFC vet, and I'm pretty sure Stan is coming off of LFA. Yeah. He's not a bad fighter. He just doesn't have quite the experience that I'm looking for to pick a guy on his debut against a UFC vet. Now, he is good, and he has a good ground game. It's where he gets all his finishes from, it seems like. But I feel like if you're able to compete with guys like Thiago Moises, I mean, maybe he does lose by decision here. He lost to Quillen Salkild. He didn't get finished by Salkild's the big thing. I'm going to pick Gage Young to get this fight by decision. I think he's going to win 29-28 over Stan Dorsonville, who is not a bad fighter. I think Stan Dorsonville is going to get some control time, land some solid strikes on the ground, maybe attempt a choke, and I do think he'll either get around. He could even edge the fight out. I could see this fight going either way, 29-28, but I'm going to be picking Gage Young. I think the UFC experience will be a little too much for him. Next, we move to a death. Marcio Barbosa versus Ryan Coos. I don't think I'll be picking Ryan Coos. His last fight, he beat a guy who was 7-6. Before that, 9-4. Lost to 9-4 Cameron Smotherman. Beat 9-6. Lost to 11-7. Whereas we have Marcio Barbosa, who has just been killing everyone. I'm going to be picking first round finish for Marcio Barbosa. This guy is devastating when he comes forward. He landed one of the nastiest, like, slip, rip combos I've ever seen. He slipped one side, slipped the other, or slipped to the right, slipped back to the left, and then just ripped the nastiest left hook you've ever seen land. Outside of now last night from the Contender Series, which, my God, if you're not watching Contender Series, I don't know what you're doing. But yeah, Barbosa has some nasty counter striking, just good striking in general, very powerful, and if he lands a hook on the chin of anybody, the fight's coming to an end. I've got Marcio Barbosa by KO in round number 1. I think he lands a big hook or overhand, just anything as a kind of counter strike. Just leans off, boom, and then the fight's over. Devastating striking. Not much to say about Ryan Coos. He's making his debut here, and he just hasn't fought anybody yet. And this is a bad first real fight to have. Next, we move to Nasrat Haqparast versus Chris Padilla. Chris Padilla, a man who almost never makes weight, if I'm remembering right. And Nasrat Haqparast coming off the loss to Quillen Salkild by knockout. So we've had a long break in between. Both guys' records are very even. You've got 18-6 versus 17-6 and 1 being a draw. So you could almost consider that a win for him. So you could put him 18-6, you could put him 16 or 17-7. But it's a very close record between the two guys. I would have said before that Nasrat Haqparast has fought the higher level fighters. And I still think I give that to him. Close decision with Markel Medeiros. I've really liked picking Chris Padilla lately. It's done me very well lately. Picking Haqparast has too, outside of one fight. He beat Esteban by split decision. I don't think... Okay. I'm going to say, if he was able to beat Esteban Ribovics, he was able to get him down a couple times, not quite get outstruck by him. I want to lean Nasrat here, knowing that he can outpace Chris Padilla. But I really like the Muay Thai skills of Chris Padilla. I really love his striking skill set. I haven't seen quite enough of his ground game to be fully competent, but I am going to pick Chris Padilla here by decision. I like the striking. This is another one of those fights I could very well see Nasrat Haqparast winning this by grappling and just outstriking him just a hair. Maybe out-grappling him, but not quite outstriking him, that on the feet being a little more even. But yeah, I've got Chris Padilla by decision. Next, we move to Shamil Gaziev versus Kennedy Netanyahu. I will never pick Kennedy Netanyahu. It's just a complete thing I have to do out of full transparency. I don't like the Netanyahus of the world. War criminals. So anybody with the same name as Netanyahu, can't pick him. We're going to pick Shamil Gaziev, the Blob. This man's going to be... Where's my mouthpiece? It's in my bag. This man's going to be chewing on his mouthpiece. Here, let's grab a free pouch lid. After 2 rounds... or 1 round, sorry. Maybe 3 minutes into the first round. Shamil Gaziev's going to be breathing like that. So we do have to make sure we get him out of here pretty quickly. The thing is, Kennedy Netanyahu, kind of chinny. I'm going to pick Gaziev to get a first round finish over Kennedy Netanyahu. Kennedy, one of these guys who... came up, beat the worst of blobs at heavyweight, and everyone was giving this dude so much credit. He came up and beat Chris Barnett, and then Lucas Breadsticks. And people were glazing this man, saying he's a problem at heavyweight. Fellas, let's be real. This dude has never been a problem at any weight class. He'll never be a problem at any weight class. He does not have the skills, the technique, the power, the heart, the conditioning, anything to really put forth that effort to go out and beat these guys at a higher level. He could beat Shamil Gaziev. That's not a high level. Anybody who thinks this dude is good is crazy. I've got Shamil Gaziev by round 1 KO. I'm not claiming Shamil Gaziev is a good fighter, but I do think he's better than Kennedy Netanyahu, who is a Netanyahu to my eyes while watching him fight. Damn, the old white women are going crazy outside. I can hear them yapping. Next, we move to Jamal Emmers versus Le'Veon Douglas in the featherweight division. I'm going to do what everybody else is doing here, bro. I'm picking Le'Veon Douglas to win by KO. And it's because of the devastating power I saw in both of his fights so far that I've seen. I have watched both his Contender Series fight and his Julian Erosa fight live for both of them. This guy murders people when he hits them. And I love seeing these new, extremely threatening featherweights. I love seeing this. All of these featherweights coming up right now have ridiculous knockout power, ridiculous striking. These guys who are on the up and up, like Marcio Barbosa, Le'Veon Douglas, Jean Silva. All these guys who have came into the UFC over the past, 2 years through featherweight seem to be absolute menaces. I'm going to pick Le'Veon Douglas by round 1 KO. This is no, I'm not saying bad things about Jamal Emmers. I think Jamal Emmers is a very good fighter. His fight with Hyder Emil, he did very well, ended up winning. It was a fight I wanted Hyder Emil to win, but I had a feeling he was not going to win, so I picked Hyder, but it's just one of those things, sometimes you pick your favorite fighter. But I do think Le'Veon Douglas's striking is a little bit too devastating for Jamal Emmers as of right now at 37 years old. I've got Le'Veon Douglas, round 1 KO. Next, we move to the heavyweight division where you have prototype heavyweight versus what looks to be a big old boy in Terrence Chapman. I'm going to be taking the prototype here by round 1 KO. I'm going to be taking Anthony Went. He is a former NFL player, and typically that means really bad things for their career in UFC. But he is at heavyweight, which they typically all will be if they were from the NFL. He is a heavyweight. He's fighting a debuting heavyweight. They gave this man a debuting heavyweight after he was just on Contender Series. And this is not a good debuting heavyweight. Because if you look, his last win was an 8-16 fighter. Lost to a winning record. 2-2. 3-1. 0-0. Whereas Anthony went 2-1, 5-4, 4-2, 6-2, 6-2. So he's at least beating guys with winning records. I'm going to take Anthony Went. Think he's going to be a little too destructive, too quick, too powerful. Trains at Kill Cliff. And he does have some serious power from what I saw on Contender Series. He absolutely murked a guy and then landed one of the biggest ground and pound shots I've seen afterward. I'm taking Anthony Went by round 1 KO. I don't think Chapman has much of a chance other than landing his own bomb. Next we move to the women's flyweight division where we have Carly Judice versus Jesla Chavez. And I will be taking Carly Judice. It looks like, oh man, this is kind of tough. We've got an undefeated fighter here. But I can reason with it. Her 2 fights before she got on the Contender Series, she fought 0-2 girls. Split decision with Sofia Montenegro. Split decision with Eunice Dubin. Yeah, I'm glad that the coin here has picked Judice. We're going to be taking her by round 2. Round 3. Couldn't finish Juliana Miller. We finished Cagliari. Dubin. Yeah, we'll pick a finish here for Carly Judice in the 3rd round, I guess. That was on the main card. Oh, that's pretty bad. Anyways, well, she is an exciting girl to watch fight. Let's move to Markel Medeiros versus Mason Jones. I'm going to be picking Mason Jones, I believe. Yeah. I'm going to be picking Mason Jones. I do think he's going to be the shorter of the 2 fighters by a little bit, but he will be shorter with a longer reach. I've got Mason Jones winning by thud him up. Just going to be throwing strikes the entire time. I do think the kicking game of Markel Medeiros can be a little bit of an issue for Mason Jones here. But I do think after a little bit of extended time throughout the fight, and, once it's mid-second round, mid-second, I could see Mason Jones taking over completely if Markel Medeiros had really been competitive in the first round. But this is going to be a very good fight. Mason Jones always brings on fun fights, and I'm pretty sure I have not watched a Markel Medeiros fight that has been boring, so we're in for a treat on this one. I've got Mason Jones winning by unanimous decision. I could see him getting a finish, but kind of tough to finish both of these guys, really. Oh, next we move to Renner de Riddler versus Roman Doulides. Man, this is a matchup. I really have to think about this one. Not really. I will never pick Roman Doulides. I'm going to pick Renner de Ritter by sub. I don't know. We'll do it by sub round 2. I genuinely don't know how Ritter wins this because it's not that I don't see his path. is that I can't see any path to victory, or like which path to victory would work for him. Like, Roman just kind of sucks on the feet. He's good on the ground, but he gets tired very easy. RDR gets tired pretty quickly. I've heard good things about his training camp for this fight, but yeah, man. I'm going to pick him to finish in what he is a specialist in, and that's grappling. So I'm going to pick a submission here from Rainer de Ritter, or Rainer the Riddler, over the great Roman Dolidze / Roman Dolidze. We're getting him out of here. Yeah, round 2, submission, RDR. Next, we move to the co-main event of the evening. Let me tell you, it's a banger. We've got Sergey Spivak. He's a great fighter. Not very good at the Tom Aspinall impression. Sergey Spivak. He's a great fighter. Versus Vitor, the man who lost to the human armadillo, Petrino. I have such a hard time ever picking Vitor Petrino after you lost to Anthony Smith, of all people. But it's like, bro, he beat Asplund. He beat the Asplunder. It upset me. I didn't think he was quite the fighter that could get that done. But, he won't beat this blob. Alright? Alright? He's not beating Sergey Spivak. Although he might. I'm going to pick Sergey. By I don't know what. Decision? KO? Decision. It'll be a decision. Both these guys are pretty tough, especially Vitor coming up from heavyweight. He seemed to have a pretty good chin on him, getting hit a lot by Asplund. I'm pretty sure Vitor had the higher output that fight, though. I do think Sergey Spivak is a little bit underrated of a fighter, though, and people aren't quite giving him his flowers for being a dude like Ante Delija, Marcin Tabora. We're flipping picks. All right, we're going to Vitor Petrino by round 2 KO after Sergey gets a little bit tired. But, bro, my problem with this is Sergey really could get the job done here. I'm going to take Petrino to win by knockout in round number 2. Let's move on to the main event of the evening, where we have a highly anticipated fight for me. I am worried for my boy here, and I think that immediately tells you who I'm going to pick. Anthony Hernandez is one of my favorite middleweights to watch fight. He brings an insane pace, kind of has that Cain Velasquez-esque style, where he just pushes forward, tries to get you to that cage, gets here in tight, landing on your body, taking you down constantly, wearing you down until he can either submit you or TKO you. The problem is he's fighting Gregory Rodrigues. And one shot from Gregory Rodrigues can KO him. One shot to the body can shut him down and set him to the ground. I don't think Gregory Rodrigues' jiu-jitsu is quite good enough to submit Anthony Hernandez, especially after all we've seen from him. Man, I am really worried that Fluffy gets chinned here. I'm going to pick Fluffy Hernandez to win. I could see it being a TKO from Fluffy. I'm going to pick TKO in round number 3. I think this is going to be a crafty performance here from Anthony Hernandez, and I'm going to be picking him to win. I think he gets the job done over these 5 rounds, And I could very well see, like I said, Gregory Rodrigues landing a massive bomb and just finishing Hernandez after that. But I'm going to pick Hernandez to win this fight. I do think he's the favorite for a reason. All right, so let's go back over the picks so you guys can have a quick review of the fights if you want. I've got Fluffy by round 3 TKO. I've got Vitor Petrino by KO round 2. Renner de Ritter by sub round 2. Mason Jones by decision. Carly Judice by KO round 3. Anthony Wint by KO round 1. Le'Veon Douglas by KO round 1. Gazia by KO round 1. Padilla decision. Barbosa KO round 1. Young decision. McVeigh KO round 2. Chanel Dyer KO round 2. All right, guys, those are my picks. Saving them the way I just did shows you if you would like to. By the way, if you guys want to join my Tapology group where I do competitions, once I have a job again, I will be paying out money like I used to for the numbered events. But as of right now, still don't have one. But guys, join my Tapology group. Like, comment, subscribe, and share the YouTube video. Please, it helps out a lot. We've been doing pretty good on picks this year. Not the best, but have a great rest of the day, guys. We will have a fight companion for these fights. Probably going to drop a video actually Friday. That'll be my first real video, not being a fight predictions video. And we'll see how it goes. But after that, we'll do the fight companion on Saturday. We will do fight companion for Contender Series on Tuesdays. Every Wednesday is going to be fight predictions video. And we will see about starting real content. You guys have a great rest of your day and week. Enjoy the fights this weekend. Goodbye, brothers.